Hey guys, it's God Bars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 242nd episode of my series where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So I know I use the term overdue way too much on this page, but I think most, if not all, 90s hip-hop fans would agree that it's hardly an exaggeration in the case of Organized Confusion's second studio full-length here, titled Stress the Extinction Agenda. While this is the first time this talented duo has been featured on the page together, I have reviewed one half of the act before, as I discussed Pharoah Monch's classic solo debut, 1999's Internal Affairs, which I'll put in the description below if you want to learn more about the MCs that made up this group individually, or at least one of them. The other member who was equally as important in the story of Organized Confusion was fellow rapper Prince Poe, or Prince Poetry, who actually started as the group's sole MC, while Pharaoh held the role of beatboxer, which ended up going out the window once he realized his potential behind the microphone. It's understandable that one of the two members ended up getting a bit more attention than the other, as it's almost inevitable with any duo in hip hop, from Clips to Outkast. But while Pharaoh has a pretty high quality solo discography on his own, that's even stretched into the 2010s and 2020s, Prince Poe actually has a couple of pretty dope solo releases as well. The two first broke onto the scene as Organized Confusion back in 1991, where their self-titled debut granted them massive underground success, largely thanks to singles like Fudge Pudge and Who Stole My Last Piece of Chicken. Their sophomore LP here, which is the topic of today's video, would come along a few years later in 1994, and for most it would prove to be their magnum opus, though they would drop a highly conceptual third and final album in 1997 with the Equinox. Stress the Extinction Agenda is one of the first LPs that comes to mind when thinking of 90s hip-hop that was far ahead of its time, alongside other forward-thinking albums like Fun Crusher Plus by Company Flow, Black on Both Sides by Mos Def, Operation Doomsday by MF Doom, The Awakening by Lord Finesse, Sound Pieces to Antidote by Loot Pack, or 3 6 Mafia's Mystic Styles, just to name a few. The thing is, Organized Confusion's debut preceded all those releases, in some cases by a wide margin, yet Pharaoh is such an alien rapper that you'd assume this album dropped at least 5 years later than it actually did. Keep in mind, Prince Poe is nowhere near a slouch on the mic by any means. I mean, the fact he can flow next to Pharaoh at all is a pretty big testament to that. He just happened to be cursed with a partner who could out-rap 99% of MCs. However, these songs aren't just packed with progressive rhyme schemes and stellar instrumentals, they also have insanely conceptual moments like on Stray Bullet, where they give us a story of a bullet being fired from a gun, except told from the perspective of the bullet. I have to share at least one or two of Pharoah Monch's killer verses from this classic LP. And the first part I want to share comes from the iconic track Stress, where he says, "You will now consider me the apocalyptic one. After this rhyme, henceforth there is none. No more will exist when I emerge from the mist in whence I was born into, scorned." Most of you can't even comprehend what I am saying. To you, even in my human form, the message that I'm relaying. Why do you choose to mimic these whack MCs? Why do you choose to listen to R&B? Why must you believe that something is fat just because it's played on the radio 20 times per day? My perception of poetical injection is ejaculation, the immaculate conception. The hall walker who stalks bodies in Central Park, soon emergency services will outline that body in chalk. Then I begin to walk away and spit. Then when I walk away, I talk shit. A driver sprayed my face with mace. She didn't know I enjoyed the taste of radioactive waste. When I'm in the backseat of your midtown taxi, don't even ask me for the cash, G. The 4 cabs before didn't pick me up. Now ask yourself, who the fuck's gonna stick me up? The one other verse I wanted to share also comes from Pharaoh, this time on the track Bring It On. Though it's worth noting Prince Poe has a pretty killer verse on this song as well. The parts I want to share here come when Pharaoh says, I even be getting more graphic than a Neo Geo 32-bit computer chip be slipped between my lips and then I'll spit. Or when he raps, it's my terminology that strike up mind and rips this beat apart. You know the many styles I choose will bruise crews from the start. I flow awkwardly cause awkwardly I flow fast to the rhythm. Incisions are made into the brain and then I begin to give them a lobotomy. Follow me, I'm shaping your brain like pottery all over the track. Give me the P. H, give me the AR, give me the OA, give me the HE. Pharaoh, crazy, poison tip arrows are hitting you from all directions. You cannot dodge or manage to dislodge them from the point at which they are connecting. I am selecting a new style for piles of MCs who try to get buck wild. Fuck that. When I'm in a renovative state of mind, I'm innovative. Never been afraid of rocking the microphone, I'm prone to be eliminating. The forward-thinking production on here is handled by Organized Confusion themselves, along with Rock Wilder and Buck Wild. And then in terms of guest appearances, we get a couple of pretty top-tier names in the form of Q-Tip of A Tribe Called Quest and OC of DITC, who was actually close friends with Pharaoh and Poe. When it comes to my honorable mentions on this one, I whittled it down to tracks like Stress, 13, The Extinction Agenda, Black Sunday, Keep It Coming, Maintain, Drop Bombs, and 321. Then for my overall top 3 favorite songs, I definitely would have to go with Bring It On, Let's Organize, and Stray Bullet. Thank you for watching my 242nd video. Next up, we get to revisit a collective that had a couple members pop up in this video, DITC. So look for that episode, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite moments are off this underground masterpiece. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.
Look, the key to my soul is locked in the cage it opens. The framework was made from my own rib cue. What came first, the crack of the crack lighter? Whichever one the first fiend used to bring back fire. Look, the key to my soul is locked in the cage it opens. The framework was made from my own rib cue. What came first, the crack of the crack lighter? Whichever one the first fiend used to bring back fire.